My husband's dream girl caught a cold, and he angrily locked me in the freezer. Just because you're healthy, why should Mabel have to suffer? You should experience the pain he's going through. My daughter knelt on the ground, begging, but he dragged her into the freezer as well. You're just like your mother. You don't know how to be considerate. Go in and reflect together. You can come out when you've corrected your petty faults. With that, he closed the freezer door. And the temperature inside continued to drop. I felt my skin cracking inch by inch. I hugged my daughter and cried desperately, until I couldn't make a sound anymore. A week later, the husband finally remembered us and asked the butler if the mother and daughter knew they were wrong. He said if they knew they were wrong, have them crawl over and kowtow to Mabel, and he would consider forgiving them. Impossible. My daughter and I have already been frozen solid. The boss's wife and young lady haven't moved for a long time. Could something have happened to them? Ethan glared at the butler and sneered. What are you talking about? How could anything happen to such worthless lives? At this moment, standing in front of him, I felt only irony. I squatted down to look at my daughter. Her eyes already full of tears. I knew the despair in her heart. The father she loved most had personally killed her. I have been married to Ethan for 5 years. And we have become even more loving since our daughter Mabel was born. Everyone envies me for having such a good husband. But ever since Stacy became his assistant, his heart has no longer been with me and our daughter. He is often away overnight, and even misses our daughter's birthday. The loneliness in my daughter's eyes breaks my heart, so I put down my pride and humbly beg him to come home. Just that once. He came back, but Stacy caught a cold, and Ethan blamed everything on me. He was full of anger and locked me in the cold storage. Why should you be healthy while Mabel has to suffer? You should suffer as much as he does. My daughter hugged his leg and cried hysterically. Daddy, please let Mommy out quickly. It's so cold in the cold storage. Mommy will die. The sight of my daughter's tear-streaked face moved Ethan a little, and he was about to reach out to pick her up when Stacy walked out of the house, coughing and gasping for breath. Shin-chan, please let my sister out. After all, she is your wife and Mabel's mother. It's just that my health is so poor. I just caught a cold and almost lost my life. Your family of 3 can't hurt your feelings because of me. Shin-chan, you know, I only hope you can be happy. As soon as these words came out, Ethan looked distressed and quickly took off his coat and put it on Stacy Ran, you are so uncomfortable, and you still speak well for that bitch. If she hadn't been jealous and insisted on letting me go home, how could you have gotten sick? A jealous woman like her deserves a lesson so she can learn to behave. He turned his head and glared at his daughter. You are begging for your mother. I won't spare you. Stacy hurried forward to hold her daughter's hand, but she staggered and fell to the ground. Mabel Auntie just wanted to hug you. I have no bad intentions. Why did you push me? When she looked at Ethan her tears fell in big drops. Brother Shin-chan, I know you're good to me, but Sister Cinny is Mabel's mother. Mabel is right to hate me, so just let me go. What if Yaoyao becomes jealous of you again? Don't let me hurt the relationship between you and your daughter. Ethan's anger flared even more. He grabbed his daughter's collar and dragged her into the cold storage. You little bastard, pushing people at such a young age. Is this how your mother taught you? Fine. Then I'll let you mother and daughter stay together. The moment the door of the freezer was opened, I felt a hint of warmth and frantically crawled out, but I didn't expect that it was my subconscious survival instinct that completely doomed my daughter. Seeing that I could still move, Ethan sneered at his daughter, saying your mother would freeze to death, only 6 degrees. How could that have frozen her to death? You're just like your mother, a habitual liar. It seems you won't learn unless you're taught a lesson. Stacy, in that case, you and your mother can reflect together. I'll release you when you've both learned your lesson. The daughter cried until her voice was hoarse, pleading, Daddy, please, don't mind me. Let me and Mommy go. I promise I'll be obedient in the future. Seeing his daughter thrown into the freezer by Ethan, anger instantly surged into his brain. That was his own daughter. How could he be so heartless? I struggled with all my might to crawl forward, wanting to save Yaoyao, But after being frozen for 5 hours, I hadn't even crawled a few meters and had no strength left. I could only cry out, "Ethan, please, please don't lock my daughter in here. I'll kowtow to Stacy. I'll apologize to him. Please let my daughter go." But Ethan's tone was cruel. "Is there a single truthful word in your mouth? You were so stubborn before. Now you know you're wrong. It's too late. You're a mother too. You don't teach her anything good. Instead you teach your daughter to lie. I see you haven't realized your mistake at all. So let's lower the temperature and let you reflect for a few more days." I desperately wanted to push my daughter out, but the door was already closed. My daughter was crying heart-wrenchingly. I held her in my arms, frantically rubbing her little hands, but those little hands became colder and colder. She was shivering in my arms. "Mom, in the next life, I still want to be your daughter. Let's not have a dad, okay?" Hearing my daughter's words, my chest was filled with anger. Why did I love the wrong person? I accept giving my life, and I also accept what's wrong with my daughter. She's still so young. I wish I could kill that pair of scumbags, but at this moment, there's nothing I can do but watch my daughter freeze stiff. In the last moment of losing consciousness, I swore, if there's a next life, I don't want to meet Ethan again. "It's been a week. Go tell Violet that she can crawl over here and kowtow to Ranran to apologize. As long as Ranran is willing to forgive them, I won't pursue this matter," the butler said nervously. There's no more knocking sound from the compartment. The madam and miss have been frozen for a week. Could it be? Ethan glanced in the direction of the freezer and sneered. They're really good at enduring. It's already come to this. And they still don't hurry up and beg for forgiveness on their knees. What, are they playing dead? Then let them continue to play dead. Anyway, it's not me who's cold. The butler, wanting to say something more, paused, interrupted by the sudden appearance of Stacy. "Brother Jinchwan, please let my sister and the others out. They are your family, and I'm just an outsider. It's nothing for me to suffer a little." Ethan quickly put his arms around Stacy, took her hand, and said softly, "Ranran, I don't allow you to say that. In my heart, you are the most important. What are they? How dare they compete with you? I will make their mother and daughter kneel before you and apologize." Stacy wrapped her arms around Ethan's neck, looking pitiful. "Brother Jinchwan, I'm sorry. I've caused you trouble again. Actually, it's all my fault for not being observant. I knew that day was Mabel's birthday, but I still made you accompany me. It's understandable that they hate me." Ethan hurriedly kissed her, interrupting her words. The following scenes became increasingly unbearable. I quickly covered my daughter's eyes and took her aside, my soul detached and cold. At that moment, I wanted to take my daughter away from this heartbreaking place, but I was trapped in this house and couldn't go anywhere, forced to watch this disgusting couple. "Mabel, do you like this car? I specially had it ordered from abroad." The luxury car in front of us was worth hundreds of millions, and Ethan was really willing to spend, but when my daughter only wanted a gift for her birthday, he became exasperated and showed no consideration for me. "I work hard to earn money, not for you to leech off me. It's clear now, whether there is love or not." Stacy went forward and kissed Ethan on the cheek. "Brother Jinchwan, you're so nice." Ethan then swept her up into a princess carry and placed her in the driver's seat to try it out. Unexpectedly, just as they started, the brakes failed, and they crashed straight into a refrigerated truck on the side of the road, causing the refrigerated truck to overturn. This distressed Ethan greatly, and he hurried forward to embrace her. Stacy Violet, that bitch, wasn't content with being locked in the cold storage, and actually drove to hit you. She then busied herself grabbing his arm and pouting. "Brother Jinchwan, don't be angry. Sister Cinny definitely didn't do it on purpose. Stacy is already out, so just talk to her nicely. Don't be fierce with her, okay?" She pouted her lips, her tone clingy. Ethan's anger subsided by half. He held her head and kissed her fiercely. "You little enchantress know how to seduce people. Don't worry, I'll listen to you. As long as they don't cause trouble, I won't get angry. You wait here obediently for me, and I'll personally bring them over and make them apologize to you, and then I'll properly compensate you, okay?" Stacy nodded shyly, but a hint of ruthlessness appeared in her eyes as she looked at the refrigerated truck. Ethan strode to the driver's seat of the refrigerated truck, only to find it empty. He kicked the truck body hard. "Violet, get out here now, stop hiding. If you provoke Stacy again, believe me, I'll deduct your daughter's living expenses for the second half of the year." My daughter tugged at my hand, and I quickly bent down. She whispered in my ear, "He's so stupid." It was clearly that woman who ran into him, and his blaming us. Luckily, I'm dead, otherwise, if I were as stupid as her in the future, wouldn't that be terrible? I touched my daughter's head and hugged her. Thankfully, my daughter was by my side. After waiting for a long time and no one came out, he got anxious. "I'll count to 3, if you don't come out, don't even think about coming home. 1, 2, 3, I couldn't help but sneer. "Don't even bother counting to 3, even if you count to 10,000, Mabel and I won't be able to get out." How could I have been so blind to fall for a man like this? He still hasn't seen Mabel and me come out. Ethan's patience was wearing thin. "Violet, I'm warning you, don't be ungrateful, get out here with your daughter now." He was furious and kicked the carriage twice more, thinking you can hide and I won't find you. Even if I turn this place upside down today, I will find you. With his movements, the cold storage door opened with a crash, and a huge ice block rolled out of the carriage. Ethan looked at the ice block and became even more annoyed. "Violet, you really are something, playing with ice blocks in such a cold environment." He hurriedly called the butler to conduct a carpet search. After a long while, the butler came to report to him tremblingly and cautiously, saying that he had searched everywhere, but there was no trace of the madam and young lady. They might really be in trouble. Ethan was furious. "You say they're in trouble, then there have to be their bodies. Take a close look at the scene, and see if you can find any. I'll take Ran back to rest first. If you can't find them, then get out." The butler hurriedly agreed and brought people to continue searching. The outdoor temperature was getting higher and higher. When the butler passed by the large block of ice again, his whole body trembled. He stumbled to Ethan and said, "Madam, young lady." They Ethan sneered. "What, you found them? I knew they must be hiding. Let's go, let me see that bitch." Daring to risk her life to play with me, as he followed the butler closer to the ice block, his voice couldn't help but tremble. "Violet, Mabel." The ice block had melted under the high temperature, and the bodies of Violet and Mabel were slowly exposed. The two of us, mother and daughter, were hugging each other. Our bodies were blue all over. Although we were already dead, seeing such a shocking scene, my body still couldn't help but tremble. After a brief moment of terror, Ethan immediately relaxed. He kicked my body hard. "Violet, you actually found a dummy to play such a disgusting trick. Did you think that if you died, I would regret it and be sad? Dream on, if you die, I will only celebrate my regained freedom." The butler pointed in horror at the hand under Ethan's foot. "Sir, this hand seems to be Madam's. Look, there's a missing finger on this hand, and it's missing from the same place as Madam's." Speaking of this severed finger, it's actually related to Ethan. A year ago, Stacy accompanied Ethan to discuss cooperation and accidentally offended someone. The other party held Ethan responsible and kidnapped him. I was the first to rush to negotiate with Leroy, even offering myself as an exchange. Leroy only made one request: "You are quite devoted, then I will chop off one of your fingers to teach him a lesson." But it was my finger that was chopped off. Ethan didn't learn his lesson at all. Stacy was afraid that Ethan would fall in love with me because of it, so she cut off one of her fingers and took the credit for it. And the finger that I actually lost for Ethan became a means of rivalry. A year later, I still remember his sarcasm towards me. "You don't think you can make me feel sorry for you by chopping off a finger, do you? It was Stacy who really saved me. You're just making me sick by imitating her." Here, Ethan seemed to remember something, and became even more angry. "Violet, you are disgusting. You used to use severed fingers to gain sympathy. But now you have learned the trick of playing dead. I tell you, I will not be fooled." At this time, Stacy walked in. He glanced at the body on the ground, revealing an imperceptible smile, but quickly restrained it, and then put on a worried expression. Did Cinny understand and take Mabel out to hide? How could he do this, knowing that you would worry about them? He still did it. Ethan sneered. "I won't worry about them." Despite saying that, he still looked preoccupied. "Oh, my head hurts. I might have hit my head while driving just now." Stacy covered his head and leaned towards Ethan, but Ethan was obviously absent-minded, perfunctorily said a few words, and then turned and left. He came to Mabel's and my bedroom, relieved to see that our things were still there. Then, he called me with a sneer, but couldn't get through, which made Ethan even more convinced that Mabel and I were putting on an act. "Violet, you have guts, don't ever come back if you can." Stacy had already hidden the phone. It would be a miracle if he could get through. I know he's waiting for me to go back and apologize. In the past, whenever we had conflicts, I was always the one to take the initiative to apologize. Now, he naturally assumes that I will bow my head and then try to appease him as before, but he can't wait any longer. The corpse on the ground has already begun to stink. Ethan is becoming increasingly anxious. He occasionally opens our chat history. But unlike before, this time the interface is filled with messages he sent me, some threatening, some commanding, but none of them are my replies. At this moment, Stacy calls, her tone urgent. "Jin-chan, has Shin-yi replied to you yet? I just saw her on the street." Ethan's expression visibly relaxed. He was convinced Mabel and I were tricking him. To force us to show ourselves, he gave Stacy the heirloom my mother left me, then posted it on his Moments with the caption, "After weathering all the storms, it's still you in the end." He thought I would be jealous and confront him. Unfortunately for him, he waited an entire day, and Mabel and I didn't show up, as if we had vanished into thin air. Ethan couldn't find us anywhere. Dejected, he returned home, only to be stunned by what he saw. All of Mabel's and my belongings were thrown out in front of the door. He rushed into the bedroom and discovered Stacy inside. She was throwing my and Ethan's engagement ring into the trash can. Turning her head and seeing Ethan, she threw herself at him. "Jin-chan, you're back. Since your sister wasn't here, I thought I'd clean the house, so I threw away some things we don't need." But this time, Ethan didn't respond. Instead, he pushed her away from him and rushed to the trash can to pick up the ring. Hongzhua glared and roared, "What right do you have to touch things here? Who allowed you to touch Shin-yi's and Mabel's things?" Stacy looked shocked. This was the first time Ethan had ever lost his temper with him. He immediately pretended to be aggrieved, tears filling his eyes, wanting Ethan to coax him as usual, but Ethan didn't even look at him and rushed out. He came outside and picked up my and Mabel's things one by one. Stacy even wanted to show his presence in front of Ethan, and explained, "Sister Cinny values these things the most. I was thinking of throwing them all away and then sending her a message, so she might come back if she gets angry." But Ethan didn't listen. He pushed Stacy away and scolded him for taking over the nest, saying, "It's because you're staying at home that Cinny and Mabel won't come back. Get out now and make room for Cinny and Mabel." Stacy was terrified. He had never seen Ethan like this, so he quickly cried and begged, "Brother Jin-chan, I didn't mean to. Please don't be angry with me, okay?" Ethan showed no more leniency and had the housekeeper take Stacy away. Stacy himself stubbornly continued picking up the things. Back in the bedroom, he saw many origami cranes on the table. Ethan opened them one by one, each with a message wishing his father good health and happiness every day. When Ethan was sick, Mabel folded 999 cranes by hand so that he could get better soon, each one his most sincere blessing. He said that as long as he folded 999 of them, his father would get better and play with him. But in the end, he folded enough origami cranes, but his father rarely came home again. Ethan clenched his fists, his eyes reddened, and he shook his head. "Dad, I'm sorry. Please come back, okay?" Then he pulled open the drawer, where a thick stack of letters revealed his past love for me. I had kept every single love letter. I once imagined that when we grew old together, we'd sit on the sofa, reminiscing about those days. How happy that would be. But he destroyed it all. Ethan finally broke down and collapsed on the ground, crying bitterly, so affectionate, as if he deeply loved me and Mabel. To be honest, if I weren't already dead, I would really believe it. In fact, he is no longer the Ethan I remember. He used to create all kinds of surprises for me, care for me, and stay by my side. But all this changed after Stacy appeared. Ethan transferred all his kindness to me to Stacy. I argued with him countless times. But he always said only one thing: "We are just colleagues, believe it or not." I should let go. If I had taken Mabel away decisively at that time, He would not be dead now. I hugged my daughter with heartache. Ethan cried enough, then started frantically searching the house, as if trying to find traces of me and Mabel. Stacy ran in again, crying loudly, "Jinchwan, I'm pregnant. You can't leave me." The housekeeper looked helpless. Ethan quickly walked up to Stacy. Just as Stacy raised a smiling face to throw herself into Ethan's arms, her neck was grabbed. "If this child is born, Cinny will really never come back. Go to the hospital with me and get rid of it. This abomination cannot be kept." Ethan's eyes were fierce. "I only have Cinny in my heart. You are just a plaything to me. And you still dare to dream of becoming a phoenix on a branch. You're dreaming. You hurt Cinny and Mabel. I will make you pay double." These words made me couldn't help but laugh out loud. Belated affection is cheaper than grass. Stacy panicked, and as long as she was unhappy, he would lower himself and try his best to coax Ethan to change completely. She tore at Ethan and slapped him twice. "It's clearly you who have been hurting Violet. But now you want me to take the blame. I'm telling you, even if you abort the child, Violet and her daughter will never come back, because they are already dead. Dead. Ha ha, ha ha ha." Ethan didn't believe it at all, and dragged Stacy out. How could he not come back if he loved me so much? But Stacy didn't give Ethan a chance to deceive himself at all. She sneered and said, "Stop pretending, Ethan. You don't love anyone, you just love yourself. Otherwise you wouldn't have locked Violet and her daughter in the cold storage. Didn't you know that the low temperature in the cold storage could kill people? No, you thought of it, but you thought Violet's life was cheap and she wouldn't die so easily. So you were unscrupulous. It's just a pity that this time she really died. She died in the cold storage, and froze into ice with your short-lived daughter." Ethan was provoked by Stacy's words, and he ordered the butler to forcibly take Stacy to get an abortion. Then he ran to the refrigerated truck, shedding tears of regret at the already foul-smelling corpse. "Cinny, you're lying to me, right? You're not dead. Is Mabel's father here to pick you up? Why don't you come out? My daughter and I are both dead. Who is he pretending to be affectionate for?" 9. Ethan collapsed on the ground for a day and a night until the butler reminded him to send Mai and Mabel's remains to the funeral home. Then he had the weak Stacy dragged over. "You once saved my life, and I won't let you die. But you harmed Cinny and Mabel, and I won't let you off either. You'll suffer the same pain they did." Stacy was thrown into the cold storage. He couldn't believe that Ethan, who loved him so much, would one day become his tormentor. He clung to the cold door, screaming hoarsely, "Ethan, you beast. Violet loving you was the worst thing he ever did in his life." Ethan stepped forward and slapped him twice, instructing the butler to lock the door, like a pervert. He went everywhere with Mai and Mabel's ashes, but it wasn't over. That day, the police found Ethan and said that the kidnapper of the abduction case that year had been arrested. The murderer confessed that Stacy was the real mastermind and needed to be arrested and brought to justice. Facing the police, Stacy knew that he could not hide anything, so he completely confessed his crimes. In order to make Ethan feel pity for him, he hired Leroy to kidnap him, and then pretended to rescue him. Becoming his savior, he didn't expect that I would take the lead, so he let Leroy threaten me, saying that he would only let me go if I chopped off a finger. He also secretly recorded a video, and if I escaped, he would give the video to Ethan to further worsen our relationship. What Stacy didn't expect was that I left a finger without hesitation, so he had to grit his teeth and cut off one as well, taking all the credit for himself. Knowing the whole truth, Ethan completely lost control. He picked up the fruit knife on the table and rushed to Stacy. "Stacy, you bitch, you killed Cinny, you killed my daughter. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to make you pay." The police immediately stepped forward and took them all away. 2 people died in the refrigerated truck. How could Ethan escape? Stacy sneered at Ethan when she was being escorted into the police car and cursed, "Ethan, you are the ultimate hypocrite. You wanted a virtuous wife on one hand and a romantic lover on the other. You deserve this ending." But at this time, Ethan couldn't hear anything. He shouted our names, Mabel and mine, saying that he would come to accompany us soon. My daughter and I looked at each other and shook our heads. Neither of us wanted Ethan to taint our road to the afterlife, if there is a next life. May we never meet again. That concludes the first story. Don't go anywhere. The next one is even more thrilling. Simply because I upset my husband's white moonlight, he sent me to a remote, uninhabited island as punishment. Called an uninhabited island, it's secluded from the world, devoid of people. Yet what inhabits it isn't human at all, but beasts, because my husband ordered them to properly educate me. From the very first day I set foot on the island, I became the lowest of low servants. By day, I was beaten and scolded. By night, I was violated. The cook, annoyed by my slow hands, could lash me at will. The hostesses, displeased by my lack of looseness, would strip me naked and toss me before visiting guests for their amusement. Even the janitor who cleaned the toilets, the lowest of them all, could enter my room at midnight and brutally abuse me at will. Until today, the guard watching the deserted island suddenly rushed into my room. I numbly started taking off my clothes, but he suddenly shouted, "Mr. Chow is here to pick you up. You can leave." I was stunned. After 3 years, he finally remembered me, but what's the use of that now? Before I could recover from the guard's words, he stepped forward, got close to my ear, and said fiercely, "After you go back, watch your mouth. Everyone on this island is powerful and influential. You don't want everyone to know what kind of life you've had these past 3 years after you go back, do you? Don't say anything you shouldn't, it's better for everyone." I lowered my head, not daring to say anything. His worries were unnecessary. What could I say now? I lowered my head and followed the guard to the shore, not even daring to look up at the surrounding environment. A strange yet familiar voice rang in my ears. "What's wrong? Have you gone mute after all these years? Grace, can't you speak when you see me, or are you resenting me for abandoning you here?" The speaker was none other than my husband, Charles, and his voice was filled with anger. I hurriedly opened my mouth to explain. "Mr. Chow, no, I don't hate you. I don't hate you at all. It's my fault. Thank you for coming to pick me up, Mr." Chow's face grew more and more unpleasant, and my voice became softer and softer. His lips moved, but in the end, he said nothing and turned to board the yacht. I quickly followed in his footsteps, afraid that if I was a second slower, he would continue to leave me in this place. After getting on the yacht, I stood carefully to the side, not even daring to sit down. Charles seemed too lazy to talk to me. Leaning back on the sofa and closing his eyes to rest, only then did I dare to secretly size him up. Chow Sinian is my husband, whom I have loved for 20 years and been married to for 5 years. We have known each other since childhood and were betrothed by our grandfathers, since I can remember. I have followed him around, chattering and being his little follower. Since childhood, I have believed that we were destined to marry. I thought he felt the same way. 5 years ago, a car accident took my parents away. To bring good luck and to comfort me, Chow Senian's grandfather arranged for us to get married. But it wasn't until after the marriage that I learned that Chow Sinian had a deeply loved girlfriend, Vanessa. But they broke up because the marriage partner set by his grandfather was me. Since then, Charles has hated me immensely. 3 years ago, because of a single unhappy word from Wu Shenshen, he abandoned me on this deserted island. Calling it a reflection on myself, thinking of this, my eyes welled up with tears, almost falling. After what felt like a long time, the cruise ship finally docked slowly. The driver, Jason, was waiting by the shore. As soon as he saw us, Jason opened the back door of the car. Waiting for us to get in, Josdean ignored me and got straight into the car. Under Jason's gaze, I stood there dumbfounded, not moving for a long time. "Doing this with Mr. Joe, isn't that against the rules?" Hearing my words, Charles finally couldn't bear it any longer and got out of the car, kicking me hard. "Am I giving you too much respect? If you're angry, vent it. If you have something to say, just say it. Who are you trying to show this aggrieved look to? You've been like this the whole way. Who owes you anything?" Ignoring the sharp pain in my body, I quickly got up and bowed to Joe repeatedly, apologizing. I'm sorry, Mr. Joe. Please don't be angry. I'll get in the car now. Please don't be angry because of me. It's my fault. Charles glared at me fiercely before getting into the car, afraid of him getting angry again. I quickly followed him into the car. "Chow, it's been 4 years. Didn't you want me to go to a deserted island to learn to behave? Now that I've learned to behave, why are you unhappy again? Jason drove the car all the way back home. As soon as he arrived, Wu Xuanxuan's sweet voice reached my ears. Yo, Miss Tong is back. Long time no see. Miss Tong, why are you in such a mess? Sinian is really something. Going all the way to pick up Miss Tong without even bringing her a decent set of clothes. If others see this, they might think you're mistreating your wife. As she spoke, Wu Shen naturally took Charles's arm. She was wearing silk pajamas, her hair was casually tied up, and she wore no makeup. Compared to me, she looked more like the mistress of this house, and I lowered my head to look at myself. When I was abandoned on the deserted island, Jose's didn't prepare anything for me. For the past 3 years, I've been wearing clothes that others didn't want. I look worse than a beggar on the street now. Seeing that I didn't speak, Charles's angry voice rang out again. Still obsessed? Are you addicted to acting? Shen is talking to you. Are you mute or deaf? Do you think you're still the eldest daughter of the Tong family? Or do you think you're Mrs. Chow? As he said this, he raised his hand and wanted to hit me. The conditioned reflex of the past 3 years made me unable to control my body at all. I fell to my knees with a thud, and shivered on the ground. I was wrong. I was wrong. I know I was wrong. Don't hit me. I won't dare again. Please, don't hit me. Don't hit me. I thought that as long as I admitted my mistake, Xiao Sinian would let me go. After all, that's how it was for 3 years on the desert island. As long as I knelt down and begged for mercy, they would stand aside and laugh. And they wouldn't hit me again. But Charles was different from them. My behavior seemed to make him even more angry. He rushed forward and yanked me up from the ground. Grace, can't you understand me? Am I telling you not to pretend anymore? Who are you trying to show this pitiful look to? After 3 years, you're still so disgusting. Before I could say anything, Wu Shen stepped forward to stop him. Oh, Henry, be gentle. Don't be so rude. You just don't understand women's hearts. You haven't been back for a few years. Miss Tong must hope you can feel sorry for her, right? Besides, I said I wanted to go back, but you insisted on me staying here. Miss Tong must be unhappy, that's why she's like this. Charles let go of me, sneering and saying, what is he, daring to compare with you? If it weren't for him, the position of Mrs. Chow would be yours, and he still dares to be jealous of you. It seems he hasn't learned his lesson in recent years. I dared not listen anymore, for fear he would send me back to that deserted island again. Perhaps my obedient appearance pleased Wu Shen, or Charles's favor pleased her. Wu Shen waved her hand mercifully. Okay, it's not worth being angry for him for 4 years. He's tired from coming back so far. Let him go and rest, lest he get in your way here and make everyone unhappy. After a while, seeing me on the spot without moving, Charles wanted to get angry again. Wu Shen smiled again and said, look at me being so careless. I'm really busy and dizzy. Miss Tong hasn't been back for a few years and doesn't know where she should live, right? Why don't you make do with this guest room on the 1st floor today, and I'll arrange it in a couple of days. My heart tightened. This is my home, and Xiao Sinian is my husband, but my husband is standing next to someone else, and there is no room for me in my own home, lying on the soft bed. I haven't come back to my senses. During those 3 years on the deserted island, thanks to Xiao Sinian's special attention, I was the lowest status island slave. I ate leftovers and slept on the most basic wooden plank bed. After one particularly brutal humiliation, that small wooden plank bed broke. From that day on, I slept on the hard concrete floor. It's been so long since I've slept in a normal bed, I've almost forgotten that beds are such soft, warm places. Just as I was thinking this, a sudden fishy smell surged in my throat. Knowing what was coming, I quickly got up to go to the bathroom. After all, the quilt and sheets on this bed were so white and clean, and I wouldn't have time to deal with it if I dirted them and Charles got angry. I had just reached the bathroom door when my legs went weak and I fell to my knees. The nausea I had been holding back for so long surged up from my throat, and I couldn't hold it in any longer. Suddenly vomiting a large mouthful of blood, the commotion from the fall was too loud, and the nanny, Wang Ma, followed the sound and pushed open the guest room door. As soon as she opened the door, she was stunned by the scene in the room and quickly rushed forward to help me up. Madam, what's wrong? Why is Madam vomiting blood? Is something wrong? We need to get you to the hospital quickly. But Mr. Just went out with Miss Wu, right? Jason, I'll call Jason. I wanted to stop them, but ultimately, I didn't have any strength left. I closed my eyes and lost consciousness. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital. Only Jason was by my side. Seeing me wake up, he rushed out to call the doctor. The doctor looked at me with a very heavy expression and asked, "Do you know your condition?" Listening to the doctor's words, I was a little dazed. Did I know? I probably did, after all. My body had been inexplicably hurting for about half a year, and vomiting blood had become commonplace. I probably didn't know either, because in a place like a deserted island, who would care about the life and death of a lowly island slave like me? So even though there was a private doctor on the island, I wasn't qualified to see one. Seeing that I hadn't spoken for a long time, the doctor looked at Jason and asked, "What is your relationship to the patient? His condition is not good. I need to explain the details to the family. Please come to the office with me first." I raised my hand and stopped the doctor. "He is not my family, and I don't have any family. I know my own body. This is not the first time this has happened, so just tell me what you have to say. Doctor, I can handle it." Hearing this, the doctor sighed and said softly, "Your organs are failing very badly. You must have been in so much pain that you couldn't sleep during this time. Right, vomiting blood is also due to organ failure. Your body has been dragging on for too long. If you had come earlier," I interrupted the doctor. "Doctor, please just tell me, how much longer can I endure?" Faced with my calmness, the doctor was a little surprised, but still answered my question. "Your heart failure is the most serious and irreversible. Your current condition," he hesitated for a long time, but still spoke softly, 1 month. After the doctor left, Jason looked at me with some sympathy. "Madam, the doctor just told me that you have quite a few external injuries, and considering your physical condition, we should really tell Mr. Chow about this. Jason is Charles' driver. He's been with Charles since before I was sent to the deserted island. So Jason has always known what happened between Chow and me over the past 4 years." I shook my head, forcing a smile. "Jason, I've never treated you badly before. Please do me a favor this time. Let's not mention anything about today. Let's just pretend we never came to this hospital. I want to spend this last month well. Please help me." After a night of tossing and turning, it was already noon the next day when I left the hospital. The doctor strongly urged me to be hospitalized, but I refused, since there's only 1 month left anyway. Why confine myself to a dark and dreary hospital? I was just dropped off at home by Jason, and I saw Charles and Vanessa sitting upright on the sofa in the middle of the living room. The air pressure in the living room was extremely low. The restrained anger on Charles's face made my heart skip a beat. "Jason, you've gotten bold now, haven't you? Whose driver are you? I didn't see you all morning. If you don't want to do it, tell me early. I've been too good to you. So you can't tell the difference between superiors and inferiors." Charles's words seemed to be directed at Jason, but in reality, they were directed at me. I can accept Charles's punishment, but I can't let the people around me be implicated. Although I was extremely scared, I still restrained the trembling of my body and stammered, "Don't blame him, it's me. I had something to trouble him with last night. So Jason went out with me. Don't be angry, Mr. Chow, it won't happen again." Charles's expression grew increasingly unsightly, and my voice lowered as well. Vanessa's charming voice chimed in at the opportune moment. "It seems Miss Tong was too lonely on the deserted island these past 3 years, a lone man and woman not returning all night. Is Miss Tong in such a hurry? We had barely left when you two went out. It's hard not to overthink such a thing." Jason had promised to help me keep this a secret, so he didn't defend himself, but simply stood to the side with a pale face. Charles's face grew increasingly grim. Memories from the past 3 years flooded back, and I collapsed to my knees with a thud, trembling as I crawled forward to hug Charles's legs. "Mr. Chow, please don't be angry. Please don't be angry. It's my fault. It's all my fault. I won't dare to do it again. I won't go out again. I really won't dare to go out again." Charles hadn't even said anything yet when Wu Xuanxuan's sneering voice rang out again. "So Jason really is Miss Tong's lover? Huh, so afraid of Charles blaming Jason, she's actually kneeling down to Charles for Jason. Miss Tong, you shouldn't be doing this. You're still Charles's wife, at least in name." Vanessa's words were deliberately provocative, and Charles couldn't hold back any longer, kicking me hard. "Ever since yesterday when everything was exposed on the deserted island, I've barely had any rest, being tossed around until now, my body long devoid of strength." Charles's kick seemed to be fueled by rage, using every ounce of his strength, and I was sent flying to the side, my lower back slamming hard against the sofa leg. The sudden, sharp pain made it impossible for me to get up, and I could only curl up on the ground, constantly muttering, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I was wrong, I was wrong." Charles still seemed to be seething, wanting to say something else to me. Just then, the nanny, Wang Ma, suddenly rushed out, blocking in front of me. "Sir, please calm down. You've misunderstood Madam. Madam was sick last night and vomited a lot of blood. You were all out. I really had no choice but to call Jason, sir. You can't hit her anymore and someone will die." As soon as Wang Ma finished speaking, Charles' expression turned serious, and he spat out blood, afraid that Charles would suspect something. I endured the pain and explained that I had a cold, a slight fever yesterday, and was dizzy. I bit my tongue when I fell, which is why I was spitting blood. It's not what he thought. Wang Ma only came in when he heard me fall, so he misunderstood. Maybe it was just my imagination. Charles seemed relieved after hearing my words. Vanessa stepped forward and took Charles' arm, saying, "Miss Tong, you should have said something about the misunderstanding earlier. We're just concerned about you. What if something happened to you again right after you came back? Miss Tong wouldn't mind, would she?" I didn't say anything, just gently shook my head. What could a dying person mind? "Qiao Xinyan, in my 4th year, I'm about to die. You must be very happy." Not 2 days later. I was resting in my room. Qiao Xinyan rushed in and threw a dress on my bed. His tone was impatient as he said, "Tomorrow is Grandpa's 80th birthday. You're coming with me. Try the dress to see if it fits. If it doesn't, tell Wang Ma. Tomorrow is a big day. Put on a good face and cheer up." Looking at the backless fishtail gown on the bed, I was shocked. In the 3 years on the deserted island, my body had been covered in scars, with not a single patch of good skin. There was no way I could wear such a revealing dress. Is it really necessary to go? My cold hasn't gotten better yet. It wouldn't be good if I infected Grandpa. So why don't you let Miss Wu accompany you? Hearing me say this, Qiao Xinyan's last bit of patience was finally exhausted. He grabbed my chin and interrupted me. "I'm not discussing this with you. I'm informing you. Why do you think you were able to get out of that awful place? It's for tomorrow. Tomorrow is Grandpa's big day. He hasn't seen you in 3 years, and I can't hide it anymore." Hearing this, I finally understood the reason he picked me up from the deserted island. Our grandfathers are best friends. Together, they created their own business empire in that turbulent era. They had wanted to become family through marriage for a long time, but because both grandfathers only had sons, the childhood engagement was passed down to our generation. Seeing Charles get angry, I lowered my eyes and said, "Mr. Qiao, don't be angry. I understand. I will be there on time tomorrow." The birthday banquet arrived as scheduled, and I followed Jason's car to the Qiao family's old house. Today, all the guests were well-known high-profile families in the industry. After all, it was Mr. Qiao's 80th birthday, and the Qiao family held a very grand celebration. Before getting out of the car, I carefully adjusted the long-sleeved dress I was wearing to ensure that the scars on my body would not be exposed. After Qiao Xinyan left yesterday, I used a cold as an excuse to ask Wang Ma to help me change into a long dress. As soon as I got out of the car, Grandpa Qiao happily greeted me, leaning on his cane. "Nyan Nyan, you're finally back after 4 years. This rascal always says you're abroad and doesn't bring you to see me. Grandpa has missed you terribly. You must come back to see this old man often in the future." I held Grandpa Qiao's arm and nodded obediently. Qiao Xinyan, who was standing beside me, seemed very satisfied with my behavior, and there was no hint of the angry look that I feared on his face. Throughout the entire banquet, I followed respectfully behind Grandpa Zhou and Zhou IV, exchanging pleasantries with the guests. In the 3 years on the deserted island, aside from being beaten and scolded, the best thing I learned was how to please everyone. and to respond appropriately to every wealthy and influential person. Fortunately, nothing went wrong the entire night, and I secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Not long before the end of the banquet, a familiar pain suddenly struck my abdomen. I desperately pressed against it, trying to alleviate the pain, but to no avail, seeing that something was wrong with me. Hosei-san pretended to take my arm, pulled me close to him, and gritted his teeth, saying, "No matter how much you hate me, you'd better keep up the act. The banquet is almost over, and you'd better not mess anything up, or I'll make you wish you were dead." Listening to Joseon's vicious words, I tried to control the fearful trembling of my body and the sharp pain in my abdomen, forcing myself to stand at the door and see off the guests. About an hour later, the banquet finally came to an end. Because I had been enduring the severe pain, my dress was already soaked with cold sweat. As soon as I got into the car, I collapsed onto the back seat, gasping for breath. My appearance enraged Charles, who grabbed my hair and forced me to look at him. "Is it really your obsession? Are you so unwilling to be with me? Weren't you having a great time chatting with others in there? How come it's okay with others, but not with me?" Afraid that he would do something drastic again, I quickly begged for mercy with a choked voice. No, Mr. Hosei-san, you've misunderstood. It's because my cold hasn't gotten better, and I forgot to bring my medicine today. I'm not feeling well. It's really not because of you, Mr. Hosei-san. Please let me go, let me go." I thought begging for mercy would make him let me go. Who knew my words would only enrage him further? The hand gripping my hair tightened again, and I couldn't help but cry out in pain as his voice rang out as well. "Full of obsession. Have I ever told you that I hate your hypocritical appearance the most? You're uncomfortable now, but when you were chasing after me, why didn't you say you were uncomfortable? Now that you're married to me and have gotten the position of Mrs. Chow, you're uncomfortable, all the way home." Charles's anger didn't diminish in the slightest. He dragged me out of the car by my hair. Xiao Li wanted to stop Charles, but I stopped him with a look. Xiao Xinian saw our eye contact and increased the strength in his hand, dragging me directly into the utility room and throwing me hard on the ground. "Shen is right. A woman like you has no heart at all. You had a great time on the deserted island these past few years, right? Look at your flirtatious appearance. It disgusts me just looking at it. Grace, why aren't you dead yet?" After saying these words, Charles slammed the door of the utility room shut, and my world was silent again. Although the severe pain in my body didn't subside, I breathed a heavy sigh of relief. I lay on the cold ground, my vision growing increasingly blurry. In a daze, I saw Joston as a child. We first met when I was 4 years old, when Charles came to my house with Uncle Joe. Back then, I was spoiled by my parents and knew no bounds. I could have anything I wanted, except that my mother wouldn't let me have sugar. All children love sweets, but I loved them too much, so I always had cavities. And my mother never allowed me to have too many. That day, I was alone in the garden, secretly shedding tears. 6-year-old Charles, after learning the reason, quietly sneaked into the house and reappeared before me after a while, holding out his hand towards me, with 2 white rabbit candies quietly lying in his palm. It was that day when Uncle Chiao teased us, saying that the old man in our family had long wanted to arrange a childhood sweetheart marriage for our 2 families. But Larotong and I are 2 grown men, and it seems more fitting to have longing and missing between us. How about arranging a childhood sweetheart marriage for these 2 kids? I didn't understand and looked up blankly at my mom. Mom smiled and pulled me into her arms, pointing at Xiao Xinian and asking, "Xiangnian, do you like brother Xinian?" The meaning of a childhood sweetheart marriage is that Xiangnian and Xinian will be like daddy and mommy in the future, never separated. "Do you think that's good?" I followed my mom's finger and looked over, and I remembered the 2 white rabbit candies from just now. If I were with this older brother, would I always be able to eat sweet candies? Thinking of this, I nodded vigorously. From that day on, I became Xiao Xinian's little tag-along. From elementary school through middle school, high school, and university, we barely ever separated. Time flies so quickly. The little boy I watched day and night has grown up so much. Yet time also drags so slowly. My boy, after all these long years, has finally fallen in love with another girl. I recalled the words that Xiao Xinian had said through gritted teeth just now. Grace, why aren't you dead yet? Xiao Xinian, don't worry, I'll be dead soon. During this time in the storage room, I've been in a daze. The severe pain in my body keeps me awake from time to time, and when the pain subsides, I fall into a deep sleep again. I don't know how long it had been. But just when I thought I was going to die in this storage room, the door opened, and George stood in the doorway with his back to the light, looking down at me. I only locked you up for 2 days. Who are you putting on this half-dead act for? Get up now. Grandpa wants us to go to the old house for dinner. %% Grace. Are you deaf? I'm talking to you. I really wanted to answer, but having had nothing to eat or drink for 2 whole days, I really didn't have the strength to open my mouth again. Charles stepped forward and kicked me. What are you pretending for? The environment here is 10,000 times better than that deserted island. Who the hell are you putting on a show for? Get up now. Buddy, I advise you not to test my patience. I paused for a long while, using the last bit of strength to try and speak, but as soon as I opened my mouth, thick, viscous liquid with a strong metallic smell dripped down my chin. I was a little stunned and lowered my head in the direction the liquid was flowing. The liquid bloomed into small, bright red flowers on my chest, dazzling to the eye. Grace. Xiao Xinian's voice exploded in my ears. I looked up in the direction of the sound. His face showed none of the arrogance from just now, replaced by sheer panic. Was Xiao Xinian worried about me? Surely not. He must think that if I die, he won't be able to explain it to his grandfather, or maybe he just thinks I'll make his house dirty. Before I could think too much, my body was suddenly suspended in the air and then fell into a warm embrace. Then I understood that Charles's panic just now was also fake. I'm dreaming now. I tried to smile and open my eyes, wanting to see Xiao in my dream. Missing brother. Don't worry, I won't bother you anymore. I'm about to die. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital. Charles was guarding my bedside, his eyes red, looking like he had been crying. Only then did I realize that it wasn't a dream, it was really Charles. Seeing him like this, he must already know my condition. When he saw me wake up, he opened his mouth in a hoarse voice. Why didn't you say anything? Grace, what do you take me for? Maybe it's because I'm dying that I feel no emotion in my heart when I hear these words. I even feel like laughing. Xiao Xinian is asking me this question now. Don't you think it's ridiculous? What do I take you for? As the pipe dream of my youth, as the wishful thinking of my life. But I don't want it anymore. I don't want anything anymore. Charles's lips twitched for a long while, but he didn't say another word after all. Whether it was because of my weak body or the sleep-inducing effect of the 4 fluids, my head was heavy, and as soon as I closed my eyes, I fell asleep again. Before closing my eyes, I sighed in my heart. Wasn't this what you wanted? Why put on this affectionate act? Who are you trying to impress? I was awakened by a sob, and in the darkness, I felt someone holding my hand, forehead pressed tightly against the back of my hand. I didn't make a sound, and he didn't realize I was awake. In the silent hospital room, his sobs became clearer, and I finally recognized who this person was. Charles, perhaps thinking I wouldn't wake up, he spoke his mind. Nian Nian, it's not that I don't love you, I'm just not willing. I'm tired of living a life of conformity. I've had enough. I have to listen to their arrangements for everything, even my marriage. But there are so many things I could rebel against. Why did I choose to rebel against you? I sighed softly in my heart. Why else? Because you know very well that I love you. No matter how much you push me away, I won't leave you. So you take advantage of my love and hurt me recklessly. Charles' voice choked with emotion, his nasal tones frighteningly heavy. You've changed since you came back. I can't see the light in your eyes anymore. My reflection is gone. Why does even longing have to leave me? You promised you'd be with me forever. How could you change in just 3 years? My tightly closed eyelashes trembled. Why did I change? Because loving you hurts too much. 2 years ago, on my birthday, just because I was extremely hungry, I sneaked into the kitchen of the deserted island to steal food, and my hands were forcibly pressed into boiling water when serving wine to the powerful, just because I glanced at them. I was stripped naked and thrown into the center of the dance hall. Countless red wines, beers, and spirits drenched me. Just because I refused the old toilet cleaner who climbed into my bed in the middle of the night, I was whipped for half an hour, my wounds became inflamed, and I had a high fever that almost cost me my life. Charles, why do you say I've changed? I was reminiscing, and his tears fell on the back of my hand like large raindrops. His tears are so hot, as if they burned a hole in the back of my hand. Will you never forgive me? Do you really not want me anymore? You won't forgive me. You don't want me. I miss you. I really know I was wrong. Stay with me. Please don't leave me. Okay, I won't stay. I'm leaving. I miss you. We clearly have so much time left. Why can't you wait for me a little longer? Didn't you say you would always wait for me? He asked a question, and I answered silently in my heart. But his last sentence stunned me. He was right. I once said that I would always wait for him. After my parents passed away, Grandpa Joe felt sorry for me for not having a home. So he forced Joe Shin-chan to marry me early. At that time, Charles resisted fiercely. He even came to me and said, "Comrade, do you really want to marry me? Are you also willing to become a sacrifice for a family marriage? Don't you have a life you want to live? I don't love you, even if you marry me. I won't love you." What did I answer back then? I gently wiped the photos of my parents as I pondered Xiao Xinyan's question. The life I had imagined, my life, has always only been about my parents and Xiao Xinyan. Since I can remember, I've known that I would be Xiao Xinyan's wife, and I love her, even if she pushes me away time and time again. Now my parents are gone, and I only have Charles now. At that time, I looked up at the Charles in front of me. My voice soft but firm. "Charles, you know, over the years chasing after you, the thing I've become best at is waiting. As long as it's you, I'm willing to wait 100 times, 1,000 times. I'm willing to wait as long as it takes." Thinking of this, tears slipped from the corner of my eyes and fell into my temples. Joe, for years, I broke my promise. I won't wait anymore. In the days that followed, Charles stayed in the hospital room every day. He tried every means to make me happy, showing me many travel videos from travel bloggers online. "Miss, when you get better, shall we go here? Didn't you say you wanted to see the aurora? Let's go see the aurora first. We haven't had our honeymoon yet. When you get better, I'll make it up to you." The room felt stifling, and the doctors wouldn't let me go out, so he'd bring me little novel trinkets. "Xiao Nyan, look at this rabbit. It's a smart robot. Talk to it, and it answers back. You love making things by hand, right? Let's put it together. And I'll frame it and hang it in the living room when we get home." Today, as I passed by the flower shop, the roses were blooming so beautifully. "Do you like them?" He even cooked for me himself every day, coming up with new dishes, even though I could barely eat a bite. Is my cooking that bad? Even Wang Ma says I'm clumsy. "You always loved borscht, didn't you? But you can't have borscht now. Try this creamy mushroom soup instead, when you're better. I'll take you to that restaurant you used to love." Lately, I've been falling asleep more and more often, but whenever I'm awake, Charles has been there. Even when I completely ignore him, he can talk to himself for ages. But I don't want to listen anymore. I softly interrupted Charles's incessant chatter. "Charles, I'm not going to get better." As soon as I said this, Charles's hands froze. The ward was eerily silent. His eyes were red, as if trying desperately to hold back tears, but he failed. I clearly saw his tears fall like large drops, until he finally broke down in sobs. "I guess Nyan Nyan won't forgive me anymore. Maybe I'm a jerk, and it's normal for you not to forgive me. I even think I'm a jerk myself. But Nyan Nyan, please, you have to get better, okay?" Seeing him like this, I suddenly felt extremely tired, so I closed my eyes. "Xiao Xinyan, go, I want to sleep for a while." When I woke up again, Xiao Xinyan wasn't in the ward, only Wang Ma was busy. I turned my head to look out the window. The sun was just right, maybe because the weather was good. I suddenly felt much better. "Wang Ma, can you help me call Jason? I want to go somewhere." Wang Ma hesitated for a moment, but finally agreed to my request. After I got up, Wang Ma carefully helped me change my clothes, and when she touched the scars on my body, her eyes reddened with heartache. "Madam, your body is not suitable for going out now, or maybe we should just forget it." I smiled and obediently let Wang Ma put the hat on my head. Wang Ma, I really feel very good today. Afraid that Wang Ma wouldn't believe me, I turned around as I spoke. Don't worry, Wang Ma, I don't think I've ever felt so good. Since the weather is nice today, I want to visit my parents. I turned around and saw Mrs. Wang suddenly covering her mouth, large tears falling steadily. I suddenly realized something, but I said nothing more, only gently patted Mrs. Wang's hand before stepping out of the room. I softly placed the flowers in front of my parents' graves and sat cross-legged. I haven't come to see you in 3 years. Are you angry with me? Ha ha ha, of course not. Mom and Dad love me most. They'd never be angry with me. But it doesn't matter if you're angry. I'll be able to see you soon, and then I'll never leave you again. Bathing in the warm sunshine, I sat in front of my parents' graves, chattering away, saying whatever came to mind. I don't know how long it had been, but a shadow fell in front of me. You've missed them enough. Let's go back. Seeing that I didn't move, Charles's voice carried a hint of entreaty. If you don't like the hospital, let's go home to miss them. Come home with me. I don't know if it was because I had been in the sun for too long, but I was a little dizzy, but I still tried to turn around to look at the man behind me. Charles, do you think I'm particularly easy to bully? Charles shook his head, wanting to deny it, but I raised my hand to interrupt him. Don't speak, let me speak. You just think I'm easy to bully. So when we were young, you took advantage of my feelings for you and pushed me away without restraint. You just think I'm easy to bully. So after we got married, you bullied me for not having parents, no one to back me up, so you sent me to a deserted island. You just think I'm easy to bully. So even now, you're not willing to let me go and are still forcing me. Charles knelt down in front of me with a thud, his voice choked, broken beyond recognition. I miss you. I'm sorry. I really am sorry. I'm a bastard. I didn't know how to cherish you. It's all my fault, but I miss you. Please, just give me one chance, one more chance. His body sank lower until he was flat on the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. I'm begging you. I miss you. Don't leave me. If you go, how can I possibly go on living? I truly can't live without you. I'm begging you. I miss you. His voice came softly from the back of his head. How could you not survive? Haven't you been living well these past 3 years? But I really don't want to live anymore. There's nothing in this world worth holding on to for me. Charles, it's not your fault, it's my fault. It was my mistake to fall in love with you from the beginning. Xiao Xinyan's body stiffened suddenly. Unable to speak another word, I didn't respond to him, only tremulously extended my hand toward him. He seemed to sense something, slowly lifting his head until he saw what was in my palm. 2 big rabbit candies. I smiled quietly, watching him. He didn't reach out to take them. Instead, he cried even harder. I had no strength left, so I gently placed the 2 candies on the ground before him, in a daze. I saw my parents standing right in front of me, and I smiled faintly. True love doesn't make you wait forever. It waits for you at the end of time. As I closed my eyes, my final thought was, Xiao Sai, I'm returning your childhood candy. Let's not meet again in the next life. I don't love you anymore. That's the end of the second story. Don't go away. The next story is even more exciting. When I went to renovate the first house that Robert and I worked hard to buy together, I discovered that he didn't love me as much as I thought. He had someone else outside long ago. While I was bearing children for him, he accompanied Ju Wn to see the stars, go camping, and travel. He would never be home on our son's birthday every year because he said it was my day of suffering. But in reality, it was Ju Wan's birthday. From 26 to 65 years old, I spent 39 years on him. I discovered Robert and Ju Wan rekindling their old flame when I was preparing to renovate the house we had worked hard for together. The house was full of our memories. It was not only our marital home but also full of memories between me and my family. Later, Robert started a company, and we moved to a bigger house for the children. I couldn't bear to buy this house, so I kept it. I planned to give Wan Xiangwen a surprise on his 60th birthday, and after thinking about it, I thought of this house that had been forgotten in my mind. The house is not big, 60 square meters, with 2 bedrooms and 1 living room. The moment I opened the door, I was stunned. On the wall directly opposite, there was a huge wedding photo. The bride was not me. But I was very familiar with the groom on it. It was my husband Robert, who had been with me for almost 40 years. The house was decorated warmly and full of life. I walked to the wedding photo and clearly saw the date on it, the day I gave birth to my son. Robert told me that he had a car accident on the way and couldn't make it. It turned out that that day was the day he and Ju-wn took wedding photos. My hand touched the wedding photo, and an envelope fell down. I was very familiar with the handwriting on it. It was a letter Robert wrote to Ju-wn, which was densely filled with his love for Ju-wn. A 17-year-old boy expressed his love to his sweetheart with anticipation. Looking at the letter, my tears fell hotly, and I lost all interest. Robert, how could you lie to me? And for so long, how could you? I couldn't stop shaking, squatted down and cried bitterly. The pain in my heart made me almost unable to breathe. My fingers trembled as I took out the medicine prescribed by the doctor from my bag and swallowed it with gritted teeth. Usually, it takes a lot of effort for me to swallow pills with water, but this time I easily swallowed the medicine. The bitter pill flowed down my throat, but the bitterness on the tip of my tongue could not compare to the pain in my heart. I put the letter in my bag and continued to wander around this 60-square-meter house. The guest bedroom was converted into a study, with a felt board on the wall, covered with their photos, and a ticket wall. I took it down to see them traveling together. I checked the time, most of which was when Robert told me he was on a business trip. Under this guise, they had romantic times together, full of love. As I looked at it, my eyes gradually became numb, and my heart grew colder and colder. The person I thought loved me deeply was rotten from the very beginning. Robert, if you don't love me, why did you marry me? Why did you act like you loved me so much? My heart is so numb with pain that taking medicine won't solve it. After looking at the house, I took out my phone to record a video, recording all the evidence of Robert's affair. After returning home in a daze, my son Eric saw me, and I asked impatiently, "Mom, where did you go? Why didn't you iron the suit I wanted to wear today? Do you know I was almost late for my meeting and almost lost a major client? I'm in no mood to worry about these things right now. My mind is full of what I saw in that house." Seeing that I didn't answer, he got even angrier and slammed the door, leaving. I went back to the bedroom and stayed there until evening. When they came home from work, there was no hot meal waiting for them, and the living room was dark. "Ehi, where are you?" Won Xiangwen called out. "Mom, are you home?" Eric called me. He knocked on the bedroom door, twisted the handle, and found me sitting on the bed. "Mom, why aren't you saying anything?" I said, my body stiff after sitting for an entire afternoon, slowly turning around. "What do you need?" Eric didn't detect the change in my voice and complained, "Why haven't you cooked yet? Dad and I have been working outside all day, and we come home to no food." I ordered takeout. "Open the door when it arrives." I ignored his complaints. I'd been heartbroken too many times today, and I was numb. By the time I sat down in the chair, the father and son had already opened the takeout and eaten most of it. No one noticed that I was acting strangely, or maybe they just didn't care. "Oh, and we're going on a business trip the day after tomorrow. Remember to pack my luggage for me." Robert didn't even look at me. I asked if I could not go. Neither of them expected me to say that, and they looked at me in surprise. "Ehi, are you angry because I didn't call you to dinner today?" Won Xiangwen asked with a smile. Hearing this, I was stunned. That's right, they didn't call me to eat together again, and they never waited for me to eat together. Even though I had said it many times, Robert never waits for me. I don't even remember when I got used to the feeling of the dishes being half empty when I sat down to eat. Won Xiangwen coaxed gently. How about I take you to the aquarium when I get back from my business trip? He has coaxed me like this more than once, but I believe him every time. I have mentioned going to the aquarium to him many times, and he always has a reason to brush me off. But I clearly saw that many of the photos of him and Ju-wn were taken at different aquariums, while I have never been to one, just because I stick to Robert's wish. I hope ours first trip to the aquarium will be with Robert. That was the birthday wish he made when I celebrated his first birthday with him. I've been waiting to help him fulfill this wish, waiting for a long time, until I started to get white hair, until the wrinkles around my eyes appeared, until I started to forget this wish. My son said impatiently, "Mom, Dad says that about you. What are you still not satisfied with? Never mind, I can go myself, I retorted his words. Mom. What's wrong with you today? Eric asked doubtfully. Nothing. My expression was numb, like a soulless puppet. Hearing this, Eric didn't ask any further. After dinner, I sat alone in front of the French window, not knowing what to do. Should I continue to pretend I don't know about Robert and Juan, or should I continue to be a good wife, mother, grandmother, and mother-in-law? What's wrong with you today? I don't know when. Robert walked over and sat down beside me. Asking if there was anything making me unhappy that I wanted to talk about, I looked up at him. Robert, have you ever done anything to betray me? Of course not, Robert answered without even thinking. Ha ha, I chuckled coldly. When did his lies become no longer lies? What's wrong with you? Robert asked me, puzzled and worried, softly asking, why did you break up with Juan in the first place? Why are you asking this all of a sudden? It was so many years ago, who even remembers? Robert didn't care and said, after all these years, the person in my heart has always been you. I stared at him for several seconds. Okay, I believe you. I want to sit alone for a while. Xiangwen gently touched my bangs and got up to leave. Robert, it's a real shame you didn't become an actor. With acting skills like yours. I looked out the window at the night, feeling distraught. All these years, my life has revolved entirely around my family, since I became pregnant. Robert hasn't allowed me to go to the company, claiming it's for my own good. Gradually, I've drifted away from my career, and he's become increasingly considerate. Every time he comes home from work, he brings me a box of my favorite pastries. It suddenly occurred to me that I haven't been to that shop in a long time. The next day, I specially put on a beautiful dress and prepared to go to the shop. I arrived around 4 in the afternoon, and there weren't many people in the shop. I took my favorite pastries and tried some new bread flavors, and sat down in the shop. Wanwan launched new products today. I was sitting on the second floor when I heard a familiar voice. I subconsciously looked down and saw Robert and Juan entering hand in hand. The staff seemed very familiar with them. Saying, your relationship is so good. You come here almost every day. Haha. Juan covered her mouth and chuckled. It's okay, he just dotes on me more. Seeing them, I couldn't help but recall the first time I saw Juan. It was at Robert and my wedding. She was dressed very beautifully, and I immediately noticed her and asked Robert who she was. At that time, Robert's expression was very strange. But I didn't think much of it until that night when he took the initiative to confess to me that Juan was his first love. I vaguely remember Robert saying, you are my wife now. Only now do I understand the meaning behind his words. I am his wife, but not the one he loves. After getting home, Robert was already back. There was a box of pastries on the coffee table, my favorite kind. You're back. Robert looked at me with a soft smile. I brought you some pastries. My gaze fell on the pastry box. Do you have the receipt? Robert seemed surprised that I would ask that and was stunned for a moment, then said, I threw the receipt away. If you want to see the receipts, I'll bring them back for you next time. No need, I refuse. He never gives me receipts for the things he buys me. And I've never suspected him. If I hadn't gone to Robert and Juan's house, I would have been kept in the dark forever. When Eric came home in the evening, I suggested, son, how about Mom throws you a birthday party this year? Mom, no need. Eric refused without even thinking. Seeing my stunned expression, Eric then explained, Mom, the day I was born was your day of suffering, and Dad will be away on a business trip on my birthday, so just celebrate my birthday like we always do. Then I remembered, Robert said yesterday that he had to go on a business trip. Father and son have the same attitude towards celebrating birthdays. They only need me to cook them an egg on their birthday and say, Happy birthday. Over the years, I've never suspected anything. In the evening, Robert came over specifically to tell me, there's no need to hold a banquet for our son's birthday. That day is your day of suffering, and I don't want you to work so hard again. I looked directly into Robert's eyes and asked, is that the only reason? Is it not because you have to accompany your first love? Robert turned to Wen. Not daring to look me in the eye, of course, he put his arm around my shoulders, changing the subject. Is there anything you want? I'll buy it for you when I come back from my business trip. No, let's sleep. I broke free from his embrace and lay down with my back to him. Robert didn't say anything else. When Eric's birthday arrived, I got up early to cook eggs for him and wished him a happy birthday. Eric hurriedly took them without even replying to me. I looked at the open doorway, feeling empty and with a bitter taste in my mouth, as if the things I valued were insignificant in their eyes. Looking at the full trash can, I cleaned it up and took it downstairs to throw away. Speaking of which, ever since I married Robert, I've been doing the housework. He takes out the trash, I cook and he washes the dishes. Later, we installed a dishwasher, so there was no need to wash dishes anymore, and we got a robot vacuum cleaner, which greatly reduced my housework. Every day I stay at home watching TV, taking care of my grandson, and preparing 3 meals. My circle went from the workplace to the wet market. When middle-aged people in the neighborhood come down with their trash, the young people passing by greet me. Hello, Grandma Sue. Hello. I smile and nod at them. Grandma, why are you taking out the trash today? I just saw Grandpa Ron driving Uncle Ron to work. Did he forget to take it? Hearing this, the smile on my face disappeared immediately. Probably, turning to Wen's business trip was just an excuse. He was actually accompanying Wen for her birthday. But why did he take our son away? I have a bold guess in my mind, but I'm a little afraid to confirm it. In the end, I still took this step. Robert understands me. And I understand him too. I already had a place in mind for where he would take Wen for her birthday without leaving the city. When I arrived by taxi, I found not only Wan Xiangwen accompanying Wen, but also my own children. I thought my daughter, Wan Mai, was at an exchange program abroad. We just video chatted yesterday, and now she's in the city. She must have taken a flight back overnight. When it was my birthday, he had a meeting to attend at the company. Willing to miss my birthday celebration to attend it, now that it's Juwan's birthday, he rushed back in a hurry. The gap between Wen and me chills me to the bone. The 4 of them together look like a happy family of 4. A scene that hasn't been seen in our home for a long time. Since Wan Xiangwen's company has been on the right track, he has become increasingly busy. He hasn't fulfilled his promise to take the family abroad for travel every year, but he can easily help Wen realize his wishes. The more I think about it, the more my heart aches, and I instinctively squat down, clutching my chest. Are you okay, madam? A young woman supported me. Where's your medicine, madam? In your bag. Holding back the pain in my heart, I struggled to speak. Hurry, madam, take it. She gently held the pill to my lips, opened the thermos to pour me water, and carefully tested the temperature first. After taking the medicine, the pain in my chest eased. With her help, I stood up and smiled at her. Thank you, Auntie. It's nothing serious. Just remember to bring someone with you next time you go out, just in case. The woman gave a kind suggestion, and I nodded. The commotion here didn't attract the attention of Robert and the others. Little girl, what do you think you should do if the person closest to you betrays you? I suddenly wanted to hear someone else's opinion. Auntie, it depends on what happened. Like cheating. The woman was stunned, then smiled and said, Of course that's unforgivable, Auntie. The prerequisite for us to love others is to love ourselves, and self-love is the most important thing. Yes. The prerequisite for loving others is to love ourselves, but I don't understand such a simple truth. After a long period of pointless self-doubt, I took out my phone to photograph Robert and then took a taxi and left. Loving myself is the most important thing. After returning home, I first sorted out my savings. If I divorced Robert, how much property would I be entitled to? I started the company with Robert. He owns 2/5 of the shares, I own 1/5. And the remaining 2/5 belong to other shareholders. Over the years, the company's dividends have been regularly deposited into my bank card. This bank card is now in Wan Xiangwen's safe. I'll open the safe, take the card that belongs to me, and other cash deposits. I've lived for others for so long. It's time I lived for myself. When my daughter-in-law, Liu Zixin, came back, I was in the room packing clothes. Mom, what are you doing? When Liu Zixin's voice rang at my door, I turned around and saw that she was standing there at some point. I put down the scarf in my hand and walked up to her and asked, I'm getting divorced from your father-in-law. Is it true? Liu Zixin looked shocked, but she didn't ask the reason. Instead, she took the initiative to help me pack my clothes. Mom, have you thought about where you're going to live? After packing my clothes, Liu Zixin asked me, and I shook my head. It was just a rush of emotion at the time. But now I wonder if I was too impulsive. I should have chosen a place to live before packing my things. It's okay, Mom, I'll help you find one. Liu Zixin smiled and said, Liu Zixin, don't you have anything to ask Mom? I looked up at his mother. Thank you for your hard work. Liu Zixin stepped forward and hugged me. This sentence made me burst into tears. My own children don't appreciate my hard work. My husband and I share the same bed but have different dreams. And the person in his heart is not me, only Liu Zixin. He is the first person to comfort me. Mom, you can live well without a man. There are many long days ahead. There's no need to wrong yourself. When did you find out? After crying, I pulled her to sit on the sofa and asked. Liu Zixin said with a little apology, Mom, I'm sorry, I actually knew a little earlier than you. But I didn't know how to say it, so I took one back to my parents' house. I couldn't face you. It's okay, good child, you don't need to apologize. It's good that you wanted to tell me. I patted his hand, comforting. Mom, if you need a lawyer, I can help you find one. I have a college classmate who specializes in divorce cases, with a very high win rate. Okay, I'm very happy to have someone standing by my side. After my parents passed away, I had no contact with relatives in my family. And Robert's relatives didn't come around either. With Liu Zixin's help, I moved my belongings out of my former home within 3 days. The property certificate of the original marital home was in my name. It was Robert who took the initiative to put my name on it to prove his love for me. Now it's convenient. I sold his and Ju Wan's love nest, and I hired someone to clean up the things in the house. All the photos of Robert and Ju Wan were thrown into the trash by my family. I sold this house for half the market price. Less than half a day after putting it up, someone photographed Robert taking Ju Wan out to play, not knowing where they went, but no one came by all week. My daughter, Wan Mai, came back but didn't come home. As for Eric, he goes to work every day. And because I don't make him breakfast, he leaves early and returns late, and we don't even see each other. I received a message from Liu Zixin telling me that Robert was back when I was setting up my own house. This house was found with me by Liu Zixin, and it belongs to a good friend of his who is studying abroad and preparing to sell it. I got a steal, but because I'm not divorced from Robert yet. I haven't bought the house yet. Coming back to this home, I'm in a different mood. When Wan Xiangwen saw me, he asked me with a beaming smile, where did you go today? I didn't see you when I came back. I laughed and said, I went to sell a house. Sell a house? Wan Xiangwen looked at me in confusion. What house are you selling? Our marital home. What? Wan Xiangwen stood up in shock. Why didn't you discuss selling the house with me? Who did you sell it to? Has it been sold? Seeing him so anxious for the first time, I sat calmly on the sofa and looked at him. The house was sold a few days ago. It's my house. Can't I sell it? I looked at him with confusion, as if not understanding why he was reacting so strongly. Robert belatedly realized that his reaction was too intense. That's not what I meant, Robert quickly explained. You should have discussed selling the house with me. After all, that house is full of wonderful memories of our marriage. Wouldn't it be a shame to sell it now? I retorted. He sneered. I think it's full of your affair with Ju Wan. You, Robert glared at me, momentarily speechless. Stacy must have gone inside since she wants to sell the house. Robert, let's get divorced. No, I don't agree, Robert firmly opposed. Why? I looked at him, uncomprehending. You hid from me and Ju Wan, treating the marital home we bought together as your other home. You know very well what you've done in there. I don't need to spell it out. Where else can you go if you leave me? Wan Xiangwen looked at me deeply. We've spent so many years together. Who else will spoil you and love you if you leave me? I don't have those kinds of feelings for Ju Wan. I spend time with him because he has mental problems and needs me to visit him often. His father saved my life. I can't abandon him. Wan Xiangwen tried to touch my hand, but I dodged him, and he looked at me sadly. You're so cruel. so many years of feelings, and you say you don't want them anymore, Won Xiangwen. Did you take care of him to the point of taking care of him in bed? I mocked. The divorce agreement is already drafted, and I can't change my mind. I put the divorce agreement on the coffee table. Also, I have shares in the company, and the annual dividends are considerable. What makes you think I have nowhere to go if I leave you? I have money. I can spend money to buy a house, spend money to travel, and spend money to hire a nanny to take care of me. I stood up and leaned over. Robert. You can't live without me, eating from the bowl while eyeing what's in the pot. You better sign, so we can part ways amicably, or I'll see you in court. There's no way I'll agree to a divorce. Robert at this moment was like an enraged old lion, angrily tearing up the divorce agreement. I had expected this outcome. He's too selfish, enjoying the blessings of having two women, a virtuous wife at home and a mistress who accompanies him to go crazy everywhere. To see Juwan's expression when she returned home, I specifically installed a surveillance camera at the front door of the house, which can see what's happening at the door. High technology is indeed useful. It reminded me that there was someone at my door. I turned on the surveillance and saw Ju Wn standing at the door trying to open it with her key, but she didn't succeed after several tries. Finally, she became annoyed and called Robert. Xiong Wen, did you change the lock at home? Why can't I open it? Even though she is already over 40, Juwan's voice is still gentle and pleasant, and when she calls me a man, I will subconsciously soften my attitude. I don't know what Xiong Wen said to her on the phone, but after hanging up, Juwan's expression instantly cleared, and she happily pulled her suitcase away. Not long after, I received a call from my daughter, and her first words were accusing me. Mom, why do you want to divorce Dad? Don't you know you're over 60? If people find out you're getting a divorce now, they'll laugh at me. My heart instantly chilled halfway. This daughter, whom I've spoiled since she was a child, has always sided with him. Dad has someone else outside. Do you want me to wait until I'm wearing green horns to my grave? I shot back. The other end of the phone was silent for a moment. Mom, men are all like that. Why bother? Anyway, you don't have to do anything at home. You go out for walks with the old ladies every day. Isn't it good that Dad has money for you to spend? I can hardly imagine that these words actually came from my own daughter. Your values have been fed to the dogs. Wonmai, I really gave birth to you for nothing. I hung up the phone angrily, and before I had time to calm down, the next second Eric's phone call came in. This time I didn't answer it, I just hung up. I guess it wasn't what I wanted to hear anyway. However, not long after, I received calls from different people one after another. I don't know where they got my phone number, but they all tried to persuade me not to get divorced, saying that I am old, and if I get divorced now, my children will be estranged from me. What will I do for retirement in the future? I had no choice but to cancel the phone card. This time my world was finally quiet. I didn't want to get too entangled with Robert. He refused to get a divorce directly, so I sued him. After moving out, I no longer needed to consider other people's needs. I had my own space and time, and I could finally fulfill my long-held wish to visit the aquarium. I didn't have to accommodate anyone else or wait for Won Xiangwen to accompany me. However, to my surprise, I ran into Eric and Ju Wn. When they saw me, Eric exclaimed in surprise, "Mom, what are you doing here? Why can't I be here?" I said irritably, "Mom, that's not what I meant." Eric, realizing his tone wasn't great, quickly said, "Mom, weren't you always waiting for Dad to take you to the aquarium? Why did you come alone this time? He's not worth waiting for." Then, I looked at Ju Wn beside him. Before one could say anything, Ju Wn introduced herself. Sushiha. Hello, we met at your wedding. Xiangwen is a good friend, just a good friend. I looked at him with incomprehension. I didn't shake his hand. I wasn't generous enough to shake the hand of someone who had come between Robert and me. I'm quite impressed with you, I said with a smile. Ju Wn, with a puzzled look. Why are there photos of you and Robert in the marital home I sold? As soon as I said this, Ju Wn shouted, "You sold the house?" Of course, the things inside the house were thrown away. Seeing Ju Wn angry, I felt relieved. "Susie, and you bitch." Ju Wn raised her hand to hit me, but I stopped her and slapped her back. The crisp sound of the slap was very abrupt in the aquarium. Some people stopped and looked at me openly. "Mom, how could you hit Juwan?" Eric said disapprovingly. I looked at him sharply. "Why didn't you stop her when she hit your mom? Seriously? Is he really my son? Helping an outsider instead of his own mother? Is he out of his mind?" Susie and I fought to the death. "And you were stunned for a while last night before you came back to your senses and raised your hand to hit back." I immediately pretended to be weak and said, "Oh no, a mistress is hitting people." Immediately, everyone's eyes were searching for the source of the sound, and the girl closest to me stood directly in front of me, saying, "Auntie, don't be afraid, we will protect you." And Wan couldn't gain any advantage. She was taken away dejectedly by Wonyi. I fought a surprisingly beautiful battle, but when I think of Robert hiding it from me for more than 30 years, being affectionate with Wan outside, I feel like I have a lump in my throat, neither up nor down. If I don't vent this anger, I will think about it in my midnight dreams, and I will get angry just thinking about it. After visiting the aquarium, I told Liu Zixin about what happened today. He praised me for being brave and daring to try new things. He also helped me scold Wan for being shameless and without any sense of shame. He also scolded Eric for being sick in the head, helping those who shouldn't be helped. "Dear mother, don't worry, I will always be on your side. If worst comes to worst, I can divorce Eric and be independent." Seeing these words, I laughed out loud. Fortunately, Liu Zixin has been encouraging and helping me all along. The next day, I was sound asleep when my phone kept ringing. Eventually, the vibration woke me up. I unlocked my phone to see that it was Liu Zixin calling, telling me not to go online or leave the house for the time being. If I needed anything, he would have someone deliver it to me. Just as I was feeling puzzled, a news notification popped up on my phone. "The most beautiful love. Dinks until middle age." I clicked on it and saw a eulogy to a campus romance. The protagonists were familiar to me. It was a photo of Wan and Robert's back. Wan and Robert met in high school, dated in college, and then broke up due to family reasons. He went abroad to study, but couldn't forget her after returning home. Coincidentally, they met at the same hotel and rekindled their passion. After seeing each other repeatedly, they got back together. Robert was no longer the poor boy he used to be, and everyone was marveling at the beauty of their love. Someone dug up the female protagonist's Weibo account, where she had just said that her lover's ex-girlfriend had ruthlessly destroyed his belongings. The entire post blamed the ex-girlfriend and praised the greatness of her and Robert's love. Below the comments, a cyber expert claimed to have found out who my ex-girlfriend was, and as a result, my online accounts were flooded. A large number of righteous netizens insulted me online, and some even posted my photos with malicious edits. Good heavens, to be so shameless at over 60 years old. Oh my God, the bad guys have gotten old. Or rather, the bad guys are destroying the symbol of other people's love. How love-starved must he be, unable to bear seeing others happy? Such a parasite should be purged from society. I scrolled through the comments, and not a single one didn't curse at me. I recorded and screenshot them one by one. The internet is not a lawless place. Those who spread rumors and insults against me online and infringe upon my portrait rights, I have the right to sue them. I sent all the evidence to my lawyer for him to organize the materials. I kept what Liu Zixin said to me in my heart, staying at home and not going anywhere, but I won't sit idly by and wait for my doom. I handed over the information about Robert and Juwan's affair to professionals to sort out. When the internet frenzy reached its peak, a prominent influencer released the organized evidence. And instantly my reputation turned around. Everyone's resentment towards me doubled and returned to Wan, and the protagonist of the original curses turned into sympathy, with Wan becoming the subject of vicious abuse. Not long after the evidence was sent out, the matter became a trending topic again. Soon after, Robert called me, saying he agreed to my divorce terms, on the condition that I withdraw the evidence, saying it was all a misunderstanding. I didn't reply to him, and instead blocked him again. This matter not only affected Wan, but also affected Wan Xiangwen's company. The company's stock price plummeted. if this matter is not handled well, Robert's company is estimated to lose a lot of vitality. Mom, she had a heart attack. Eric sent me a message, and the moment I saw it, I couldn't help but feel worried. No matter what, Wonmai is my daughter. There's no way I can just ignore her. My heart disease is hereditary, and the onset time is uncertain. Once it occurs, I need to have medication with me at all times to prevent the next episode. I rushed to the hospital anxiously, but instead of finding my daughter lying in the hospital bed, I found Ron Xiangwen and his son waiting for me in the ward. I told you, Mom. You would definitely come when you heard I was sick. Wonmai was on a video call with Eric, and I could clearly hear the smugness in his voice. Ah, you're here. When you saw me, Robert happily wanted to grab my hand. I took 2 steps back. Why did you trick me into coming here? Mom, you shouldn't have said those things online. It's made Aunt Ju afraid to go out now. Eric hung up the video call and pointed at me with a displeased expression, blaming me. I looked at him with disappointment. When Ju Wn slandered me online, why didn't you come out to care about me? Eric, I'm your own mother, and you're siding with an outsider against me, taking my kindness for granted. Eric, do you have a heart? My barrage of accusations left Eric with no room to defend himself, because it was all true. I know I was wrong. Can we make up? Robert, looking exhausted, walked up to me and said, I'm done with Ju Wn. I'll never see her again. Before I could speak, Ju Wn rushed into the ward, yelling, Robert, how dare you dump me? If you dare dump me, I'll kill you. Ju Wn cursed at Robert while desperately clinging to him. Robert couldn't get away and looked at me expectantly. But I ignored him and turned to leave the ward. Soon after, a nurse came to take Ju Wn away. Ju Wn really does have mental illness. Robert didn't lie to me about that, but as for how much of what he said was true, I think even he probably can't tell anymore. When you tell lies often enough, you even end up deceiving yourself. 2 weeks later, my divorce case with Robert officially went to court. Seeing Robert in court again, he looked tired, and the dark circles under his eyes were frighteningly deep, indicating that he hadn't slept well for days. Because I had prepared sufficient evidence and hired a good lawyer, the verdict was as I expected. Robert and I were divorced, our property was divided as I requested, and he got custody of the children. They will give me $2,000 each month for my retirement, which they proposed themselves, and I had no expression about it. Even if they don't give me retirement money, the property you and I have divided will not only allow me to live a carefree life, but also without having to work, and without any financial burden. As I left the courthouse, Eric stopped my mom before she left and said, You can always come home if you want to in the future. I didn't look back. That home was my shackle, and I would never return. After the divorce, I bought the house I now live in and decorated it to my liking. I spend my days tending to the flowers and plants in the yard. And in the afternoon, I go out for afternoon tea with my friends. Life is wonderful. Liu Zixin still brings her grandson to see me from time to time. Look, Mom, guess what I bought you? Liu Zixin held up the bag in her hand, and I asked, playing along, What did you buy? Grandma, Mom bought you a pretty dress. Her grandson, Ruan Song, toddled over to me. Seeing them, the sadness I felt from watching the tragic drama instantly lifted. I joked, I'm so old, why would I wear a dress? I haven't worn a dress in years. I still have the long dress I bought when I was young in the closet. Mom, who says you can't wear a dress when you're old? Liu Zixin disagreed. He took out the dress and held it up against me. Mom, you'll definitely look good in this. Okay, I'll try it on. I took the dress from his hand and went back to the room to change. When I came out, Liu Zixin and Ruan Song both praised how good Grandma looked. Under their flattery, I gradually accepted it and didn't change back. At noon, I specially prepared a large meal to treat them. Mom, do you know about Dad sending Ju Wn to the mental hospital? Cheng Ru took the opportunity to run to the yard to play. Liu Zixin said. I shook my head. I didn't know. I don't pay attention to their affairs anymore. Yeah, Dad, I don't think he loved Ju Wn that much. Otherwise he wouldn't have sent her in now. I smiled and didn't reply. Of course, Robert had loved Ju Wn. But when it came to his own interests, only he himself was the most important. Even if Ju Wn was his mistress, When it came to interests, Juwan was a disposable pawn. Later, I never heard about Robert from Liu Zixin again. Eric did call me a few times, but he hung up after only a few words. Alright, that's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. We'll keep updating with more exciting stories, and we look forward to seeing you next time.